Welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz, Love Talk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. That song is by Johnny King. He wrote it for his sister, Evelyn Champagne King. So they kindly let me use it for my own intro. Good morning, Lauren Anderson. Unmute yourself from Possible Futures. Hey, Ryan Sands. Nice to see you.
Hey,
How's
Good morning. Good
everything?
morning.
It is wonderful to see y'all. So y'all got this wonderful jazz night coming up at Possible Futures. I missed the first time you did it, so it must have been very good, Ryan, because you're coming back for a second time.
oh yeah. Um, it was such a blast like doing it. It's such a blast like to do it in one of my favorite spots.
Mm.
Like Possible Future just means like the world to me. So like to do something there, oh, I love it. And Lauren is such an amazing person, such a great partner like in all this. And shout out to Juanita like as well on
Yeah,
on the first night. So
yeah.
it's it's just great like to be back.
Juanita's in Paris. We're sending her and the whole culturally lit team lots of love because they're out there celebrating Baldwin's centennial, which is totally amazing. But I feel like I'm just gonna complete the circle of love. I mean, I love Ryan as a person, and I also just feel like it really was a total blast the last time we had jazz here. It was a first time trial thing of like, what would it be like if we just had some wonderful musicians? And it really was Ryan's idea. So, I mean, all credit goes to Ryan and his amazingly talented trio. But it was just fantastic. And I think, at least from my perspective, we all like hoped it would happen again. And so it's really delightful that now here we are. Seasons are changing, people are back in the grind if they're school folks, or maybe they're liberated from their children for a little bit of the day. And it's a perfect time to come back to the book space for some music. So
It's a great space for music, I think. I know Ryan because his father used to be my piano teacher. And we all used to go to the same barbershop. We used to all go to Willie C's. He was a little kid at that moment. And so I used to see his dad bring them in. His dad used to work with me at the inner city. So I've known them for quite some time, watching them grow up and him and his brother develop into these amazingly talented international artists that they have become. So it's lovely to sort of see him here in New Haven playing all the places. I've seen you in a couple of places. I've seen you at Cafe Nine.
Mm.
I've seen you all over the place playing your brand of music, and it's just been wonderful. So to see you at Possible Futures, which is a bookstore, and an intimate bookstore, seems to be a setting that you are very comfortable in, a very intimate, comfortable setting. Talk a little bit about the kinds of places you like to play music.
Yeah, so definitely starting like with Possible Future. So first, just like something about the intimacy and like the smallness of the room where everybody's just like nice and cozy and like right up on each other. It's just like the music just has a way of just like emotionally just like connecting, just kind of getting through and kind of getting to you in like a different way as it would be in like a stadium or in like a like jazz club.
Hmm. And
So
so Harry is saying, can you turn your mic up a little bit or get a little closer to it?
yes,
Can
of
you get a little
course,
Barry Whitish there?
of course. How's that, Mr. Harry?
Is that better, Harry? Because we want to be able to hear all of this conversation. Yes,
Better.
better.
There we go. Yeah,
So opposed to like big concert halls, which you're not opposed to playing,
yeah.
but a small intimate space like a bookstore, which marries the love of reading to the love of music, it's got to be very satisfying.
It's so satisfying, like to have like that relationship with it, and like the smallest thing in intimacy and just like being around books and something about just being around books and music together. It just feels cozy.
I like it. So, Lauren, I mean, Possible Future is more than a bookstore. I mean, yeah, you sell books and that's your claim to fame, but you do a lot of stuff in that little bookstore.
yeah, I mean, all kinds of things happen here, which is wonderful. And I also want to just say Ryan's real busy, like and in demand. And so it also feels like, as with many other things, it's just an honor to have people come and like fill the space with their gifts. I do like to think that the space, like, that it retains something from everything that happens here. So whether it's like celebrating Fred Hampton's, birthday, or bringing jazz to the space, or having somebody talk. Oh, your sweet friend, Layla Babz,
Yes.
having a book.
I think your
Just
Wi-Fi
stays
is
and
freezing you.
oh, is it mine?
I think so. That's all right. You keep talking.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what
Listen, it's technology. It's
yeah.
fine.
Gets the better of us
I was just
every
saying, I
day.
think everything that happens here stays in the space,
Mhm.
atmospherically, like spiritually. And so, do things here that show off their gifts and bring that.
Yeah, we just have a little bit of that's all right, a little tech problem. We'll make it work. So Ryan, you are a very young man, and you play jazz. What else do you like? Who else do you like? And what influences you? I mean, I know that's a common question you get all the time, but I know you have to be listening to, or maybe not, other genres of music that
Yeah.
speak to you a little bit.
Yeah, so like other influences, musical influences, like going like that route is just like I love Brian Blade in the Fellowship Band. Because for people who don't know, Brian is he's an amazing like jazz drummer. Very famous for playing with Joshua Redman quartet in the '90s. All the way through Wayne Shorter's last quartet for the past 20 years. Just watching how free he is, and just like how emotion evoking that he has like on like the drums. It speaks very. It just speaks a lot to me. Then also his folk background with his band Mama Rosa, and I'm starting like to love folk music. I love the way how it sounds, the way how it feels. So diving into work of like Le'Veon Helm, and then Bob Dylan and the band. Then also kind of other stuff that I grew up with, such as like James Brown, probably the Funkadelics, you know, and Earth, Wind and Fire. It's the Stylistics, Delphonics, and then other jazz influences such as like Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Elvin Jones, all the way up through Ambrose Missouri and Walter Smith III, and my older brother Christian. So
Yes. So are you always listening to music? I talk to musicians quite often, from classically trained musicians to jazz musicians to all kinds of musicians. And I'm always surprised that some musicians, when they're home, they don't listen to music. Like they want their space to be devoid of music because they spend so much time playing and being music that when they're in their own personal spaces, they're not listening to music. So what is your routine around that? Do you listen to music at the house? Are you always listening to music in the car?
always listen to music everywhere I go, like, whether it's the airplane, subways, like Amtrak, just cars. Like yeah, I'm always bumping something. I'm always playing something around the house. It's like very rarely like it's quiet.
And so do you have opportunity to go to concerts? I mean, I know you're very busy. You have a very, I mean, you were just in Europe. Like I think because I follow you on Instagram, so I saw
Yeah.
you in some spaces, and I was like, man, he is all over the place. Do you have opportunity to like go to other people's shows and concerts and performances?
Real talk? No. Just like I'm like I want to do that like a lot more. Like just like what, even like this week I have a mostly free week outside of teaching tomorrow. So it's just like what, maybe head out to New York, go see what's going on, or depending on what's going on, head to Cafe 9 tomorrow night just to hang out
Hmm.
and kind of see like who's playing. And also, yeah, just like I want to kind of like catch more of what my peers are doing,
Yeah.
and and not only come outside when I'm working. Is like if I'm gonna be outside, I want to be outside checking out what's happening and be a part of the scene and be a part of the community a little bit more.
I love
So
it. I
to
love it.
anybody out there listening, New Haven folk, I am sorry for not coming outside for the past 2 months. I'll be back tomorrow.
Well,
It's
you're
so,
busy.
can you
Yeah.
can you all hear me now? I tried to
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. You know, you test things and then they don't work the moment you
Listen, this is the magic of technology. I deal with this every single day. So go
I,
ahead.
I also so relate to this because I just want to apologize to all the small business owners whose stores I never get to go into because I'm like supporting them the only way I can, which is often just like pouring the love out because it's hard. It's hard to be everywhere you want to be. And so like I don't know if this came through before, but I'm just always super tickled that like somebody as busy as Ryan makes time, to come and play in the book space, which is not like your typical venue. And I know there are lots of things people can choose to do with their time. So it's just an honor and it's a blessing to everybody who's going to get to come and hear him in the space. But I know that feeling of like, I really
Well,
wanted to be there. I just can't be two places in one.
Right.
I get it. But I tell you what I love about him being in the book space is that there'll be people in that book space to hear him play that probably would not catch him in other venues. Do you know what I mean? Because people just,
Yep.
they're creatures of habit, and sometimes they don't venture beyond, spaces where they feel very comfortable in. And so they might not hop on a train and go catch him somewhere in New York playing, or they might not run downtown to Cafe Nine and catch him in a jam session or something like that, or wherever he's playing around town. So bookstore is a nice sort of neutral performance space where people can just, not intimidated, don't feel like they have to know a whole lot. Do you know what I mean? Because jazz for some people can be very imposing,
Yep.
particularly if you don't know your jazz origins or jazz greats. And so you're like, oh, I don't know if I feel sophisticated enough, which is totally wrong, but I can understand how people sort of can could get in that space real fast. So what do you
Definitely.
say to those people, Ryan?
It's just like knowing like it's just like knowing the history of music because like there it sounds like there also is like a disconnect between like the jazz community and you see like with the jazz artist community and the community at large
Hmm.
because like the way how the music originally started it was never this like I'm also gotta mind my words like a little carefully though too it's just like jazz wasn't where it was now it was very much for the people by the people the way how it originally started in like the streets of New Orleans back in 1917 and to watch it evolve to now being in clubs to now being in concert halls to now having this international jazz and everything is so vast. And so it's just like with people who are new coming to this space, it's just come as you are.
Mhm.
Like just come as you are and just like depending on who the artist is or like in my case, I try to make music that's palatable like for everybody and for everyone like to like relate to because this is not just about making high art like 24/7. It's about also like in addition it's about connecting with people.
Mhm.
It's about connecting communities, it's about connecting all walks of life. It's about being a cohesive unit, a unified unit. And so this people who are coming into the space is just be who you are, just fall into it and don't worry about having on like the nicest digs. Just come as you are and just vibe out with us.
So speak to me about why you teach. What is the importance to you to teach?
The importance of teaching, it's like I'm a big proponent of just like things of like tradition and things being passed down and it's
Mhm.
and I just like love teaching. I something about just like working and just like crafting something new, especially in with people who are just new to it and just passing down like the knowledge and like growing with them and growing and getting them to the place where they need to be because I look at teaching just like look like you're planting a seed, watching it water, watching it grow. Like you have to take care of it. You have to like pour as much life into it as it will pour like back into you. And so teaching is just a very big part of what I do, and a lot of that comes from being a former student at neighborhood music school, educational center of the arts, Amity High School, where I went all the up, where I also was with Jesse Hameen the second. So it's just like being around him and watching how he pours into people and watching how he just nurtures and grows, and just watch like what he loves doing. It just makes me want to do it. It makes me want to be that much better at it.
So what do you say to young musicians who are, and I talk to a lot of musicians, Ryan, all the time, Yale students, neighborhood music school students. I served on the board of neighborhood music school for a good while. And there's always this push-pull about, can I make a living as a musician? Should I make a living as a musician? I know kids who are at the Yale School of Music and they're pursuing their craft, but they also got like a little backup something just in case. What do you say to parents to support kids who want to do music as a career? Because we all know starving artists is a real thing.
Listen, like starving artists, like it's real. Like sometimes you have to get that sometimes you have to get like that $1 cheeseburger or like that $1 like foot long, from like the local deli and the bodega like across the street, and they get that one cup of oodles and noodles. But let's see, just like far also just just to your point for like the musicians like who are kind of finding like their footing. What I encourage them like to do is don't give up on like the dream. Definitely have a thorough idea, and also in just like things may not always go your way like the first time. Just keep reworking it and just keep reworking like the plan until you find something like that sticks and that resonates, and just keeping your mind going forward, and don't get lost in the mistake so much, and don't let the mistake consume you, and don't let fear like hold you back either, because to be an artist, it's a lot of trial and error, it's a lot of putting yourselves out there, and it's a lot of strategy. So you got to consider like a lot of things. You got to consider just what is my skill set, and just like how's my presentation going, and just like learning like how to talk to people, like, and like how to promote, and just learning that the whole shebang like on your own, and you got to understand that that's just temporary, that you're gonna be on your own until you don't have to be on your own like no more. And to the parents like supporting the artists, they definitely words of encouragement, words of affirmation, and being that supportive rock for them, and just letting them know, just like, hey, you can do this. Like you have something very special. Keep pushing forward. To keep chugging through. Like we got you. It's like not so much like coddling so much. It's they definitely don't coddle, but definitely let them know that they're supported, and that you got their back, and willing to support them any way that they could, and encourage them to like do the work and reach their full potential.
I like that. So Lauren and Ryan, you both are business people. I mean, this is a business. You being a musician, Ryan, is a business. You, Lauren, running a bookstore is a business. So you make decisions about how do you utilize the space when there is no real gain, no real monetary gain in you doing it, but you do it because it's necessary. And Ryan, playing in these small venues, doesn't necessarily pay the rent or the mortgage, but it's necessary to do. How do you manage your business side of the business moving forward?
I just feel like that's such a good question, and I'll tell you when I figure it out, Babz. But I mean, one of the things, and I imagine this is true for Ryan too, because I just know Ryan is a part of like this amazing network of musicians. And I do think oftentimes, when you love something, right? Like, so people will say to me all the time, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to start a bookstore. I love to read books, or I want to be a bookseller so that I can sit around all day and read books. And I'm like, I don't know a single bookseller who gets to sit around all day and read books. Like, loving books and like loving playing an instrument is like not the whole of it. It's actually like those other parts that you realize you have to learn. Oh, as a small business, like I got to manage my own social media, I guess. I don't know if Ryan has somebody to do that from, but it's like, I got to figure out how to do that. The promotion parts of stuff. So I say the community piece, because I feel like I have benefited greatly from having a network of other small business owners who have had to also figure out how to do things on their own. So not all of us are figuring things out like from ground zero, because I might know something about how to do the social media and promotion part, and like Addie might know a ton about like the bookkeeping part, and so and so might know a ton about the event planning part. And I feel like we all draw on each other, and it's part of what makes a community strong. But I also think that kind of like distributed learning and teaching is what makes it feasible. I mean, there's no way I could learn all the things that I need to know and would like to be able to pay someone else to do, but but that's not in the plan yet, And I do think Ryan said the word like strategic. I think like there are a lot of things that I do think you just kind of go on gut. I mean, I met Ryan and I was like, I want to be around this person. Like, this is just good energy. And that was in some ways before I had ever heard Ryan play. And then I like educated myself on Ryan kind of as a musician and was like, this makes so much sense. It's like the amazing gifts and the talent and the commitment, but also just the human being. And I do feel like when you're choosing to do things that aren't necessarily going to like improve your bottom line as a business, a lot of what you're doing is you're building community, and you're trying to figure out like, who are the people that bring that great energy, that attracts other great energy, and that pulls people together. I also will say Ryan is like, just thinking about doing something like jazz in the book space. Ryan makes people feel comfortable. And I often, this, Babz, it's like we're in a residential building. We got 2 floors of folks up above, families with children. And I'm always thinking about like, is this an event I can invite my neighbors to come down to? Where like, if the kids who live upstairs just come down and decide to sit on the floor, is that going to be cool with the people who are performing or talking about their book or doing whatever it is they're going to do? And I totally get that sense with Ryan. Like, Ryan would be super excited if like the 8-year-olds from upstairs came down because they heard jazz and were like, I want to get in there and listen to that. That would be a part of the experience that I feel like Ryan would totally understand and appreciate. And ultimately that helps, like, using those thinking about those things when you're making decisions. It helps a lot in figuring out what to say yes to and what to say no to, what to pursue as a possible thing to do, and what to like let go of.
Yeah.
I like that. What else would you like to add to that, Mr. Sands? Anything?
Like, Lauren took the words like right out of my mouth. I got nothing else to add to that. Lauren killed it.
Why, thank you.
But as a musician, you have to, if you have a band or folks who play with you, you have to make sure they get paid. You have to make sure they get to where they need to be. You have to make sure, it's all these things. It's not just, I'm just going to show up, I'm going to jump on stage, I'm going to play my music. There's some background stuff that you, as a leader of a band, right? Because you lead your own band oftentimes, that you have to sort of do. You don't leave it in the hands of somebody else. You have to do it.
Exactly. And just like, it's very much like on you, that type of deals. It's like you have to like see like you have to like sign like the contracts. You have to like go through the finances of everything like that's coming in. You can't just show up like and play and just and not know like what's happening. It's just like, okay, this is the order like of what's going on. Like, this is like the set time. This is like the sound check and loading time. This is the gear that they have here, and this is how much money. This is how much money is expected to be coming in, and let's see, like now I have to pay like the band, and then depending if I have like a manager, they pay the manager like a certain fee. If a road manager, pay the road manager, booking agents, and then by the time it gets to you, like you get like what's left. And it's just like a lot of musicians, they don't understand. It's just like, I want to say like all musicians, they don't understand it, but it's like it's something that I feel doesn't get talked about and passed down and taught enough.
Mm-hmm.
That there's layers to this. It's like there's layers to this, and then also when you're there on the business side of things, it's just like even if you rented like the space, it's like it's a lot of things to be cognizant of. You got to be more than just like a musician. Like you got just like it's just like as I like to say, everybody like can play, but it's just like it's like the next phase of it.
Mm.
You got to be just like, how can you figure out, let's say, like the next phase of what's going on? It's just we have a lot of people like that come out here like playing, but we need music. But I would like to be around in the room like with musicians that fully know and are aware of what's going on, like on and off the stage.
Mhm. I was going to say that my partner is a painter. Babs knows this. I think Ryan, you knew this too, but
Yeah.
he always talks about how. So I also don't think it's like just about music. It's like, he teaches painting, but oftentimes nobody's teaching young folks who want to have painting be a part of their life. What's a materials budget look like? How do you find studio space and like figure that out and manage that? When somebody wants to buy some of your work, like how do you price it? And what's it like to have a relationship with a gallery? It's like a lot of that stuff. I think people are, to your point, Ryan, like they're kind of left to scramble a little bit. There isn't like oftentimes in the places that are teaching how to do the art thing, there isn't also as much teaching about how to be a manager of your own career in the arts. Which is why I think is really cool. Southern has now this arts management, I think it's certificate or minor or something. And I just think people are realizing that there's a real gap that needs to be filled in the kind of knowledge around what it takes to be a working artist. And certainly when you're trying to rub two nickels together to make it happen, that's already taken up a lot of time and energy. And so whatever can be done so that people are just like skilled up and like have the knowledge at their fingertips to make it easier, is a huge benefit. I know the Arts Council also, Babz, does a lot of that kind of support for working artists. I think that is just super crucial.
Yes. So how do you both say yes to things and no to things? How do you decide that? So Ryan, how do you decide I'm gonna go and play the jazz festival in Copenhagen, or I'm gonna go play the jazz fest in South Africa? Or Lauren, how do you like, I'm gonna carry this book as opposed to that book, or I'm gonna allow this artist, but maybe not that artist? How do you say yes and no to things?
Let's see.
We're both like crickets.
It's just like
Just talk a lot, and also I'm on my phone, so I can't see Ryan's face. So Ryan, do you want to jump in first?
I'll jump in. So, because actually, it's funny enough that we're talking about this, because I was just talking about this actually with like a friend of mine yesterday, too. It's just like, also I heard recently on like a podcast, which I kind of resonated recently, is just like, it's like an actor also saying, like where he kind of got to where he is now, he got more further along saying no than he did saying yes.
Wow.
So being comfortable saying no to things that won't either, like, that might not be in your most artistic, that won't put you that won't put you artistically. That sometimes it's like, okay, just like looking at, just looking at either at like your lifestyle or just what you want to do. Saying no, but plays a part into that though too. Mm-hmm. And also sometimes just saying no when your mind and your body just needs a rest.
That's good to know, Ryan, that you think about that, you understand that at this young age, because people grind culture is very, very real, and people will grind themselves into sickness, because they are trying to accomplish. So I'm glad you recognize that early, that you have to listen to yourself.
Exactly. Just like physical, mental, like health is very, very important. Just like to keep working just for the sake of working, and while your mind and your body and your emotions all just out of whack and just not in sync. Like it's not. I personally feel like that's not healthy. Like to do, it's just like the work, the money, and just like the venues like will still be there. You may not still be here working at the pace that you keep going. So it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no now so you can have more later. Mm-hmm. It's the way like how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, Lauren.
Well, I totally appreciate that. And I believe Ryan's colleague in saying they got like a lot of their success kind of, or things taking off can be tracked back to no's. Because I do think there's something to like the idea of operating from a mindset of scarcity versus like a mindset of abundance. And like when you feel like you have to say yes to everything, there's a way that like that sense of desperation gets communicated, I think. And when you feel empowered to say no, I think that sense of confidence also gets communicated. And so I just believe that. And I'm also that's the intro to me saying I struggle, and I feel like people who know me know this, to say no to things. I think it can also be really hard in a kind of space where a lot of people are asking to do things, and you love a lot of those people. And so you want to say yes to everything, but you can't actually say yes to everything because you will just keel over. And so I think like for me, some of it is like the book space has an identity and it has a mission. And so the first thing is like, how does this fit in relationship to the mission, which is like related back to community? And there are certain things that, you know, kind of in some cases might make us money, but will still take time and energy and effort that we say no to because they're not aligned with the space, like what the space is for and who the space is for. And then conversely, there are things we say yes to that there's not like no real kind of material gain from, that are just an automatic yes, because they're so tightly aligned with our mission as a book space that it just makes good sense. And then there are some things that like in the grand roster of what a space or what a business has to do, it'd be really nice to let go of. But some of those things are things that just like keep the lights on and the heat on. And we have to say yes to them. And those are often more like orders than events. Because I do think for our like public, for people to understand like what is this space for and what is it about, the public events that we say yes to matter a lot. So yeah, and I also think I am in a growth phase myself as a person, and just getting to a space of saying no more often. And I believe what I said at the beginning, that like saying no can often be one of the things that makes you the most healthy as a business or as a person. And also can be the thing that brings you kind of more of what you want, and helps you attract less of what you don't want.
So Ryan Sands and Friends will be performing Friday, September 13th at 7 o'clock at Possible Futures Bookstore. So you can just go to Possible Futures website and buy a ticket. And how many people can the space hold? Because I know it will sell out if it has not already sold out.
It's also like super affordable. We make it very affordable for a reason, because we do like get the word out to our neighbors first and foremost. And we want people who are like maybe on the fence and are like not necessarily going to pay a big ticket price, the door price, whatever. Yeah. So about 40 people can fit. That would be tight, but certainly 30. And then, you know, sometimes folks are like, yeah, I'm willing to stand. Obviously it's music, so you can hear it beautifully. One of the things we were surprised about, or just tickled about the first time, is that the sound was great in here. I don't know, Ryan, I know you play places that probably sound amazing all the time, but I think it was an open question, like, is this even going to sound good? And it turned out, you know, it sounded great in here. And you could be anywhere in the space and it feels like you're right there, because some people are like literally right up against the instruments and Ryan and Friends. Yeah, so it's just wonderful. You can get tickets on our website. And it's Friday night, doors at 7. We'll probably get started around 7:30 or a little bit after. And it's just gonna be fantastic again, like it was before.
Well, I'm looking forward. Save me a seat. I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Sands and Friends at Possible Futures Bookstore, 318 Edgewood Avenue. This is Bookstore After Dark, and I love jazz. I'm a huge fan of all the Sands, the whole Sands family, and so I can't wait to be in the space. I hope you peddle some CDs or whatever you have, Ryan, because I happily bring my money so I could get me a couple, because I don't think I
will.
have any of your CDs. And I think it'll be a good night. Thank you both for showing up this morning and having this great conversation about the intersection of music and books. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
So
Thanks
enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you Friday.
Yes, see you Friday.
Thank you,
Can't wait to see
Ryan.
everybody. And
Yeah.
thank you so much
Lauren.
for having me.
You
Thank
are
you.
welcome. Come back anytime.
Yeah.
Oh, bet.
Thanks, Harry.
Mm.